Third weekend as president, and Donald Trump gets slapped down by another federal judge. This time in Washington state, a ban was halted all across America when it came to his Muslim ban. Of course, the White House says it is not a ban, but the fact of the matter is it is. Well, this decision came down late Friday night when U.S. District Judge James Robart was, of course, a George Bush appointee, actually ordered this particular ban, saying that folks cannot be prevented from coming into the country. Of course, Trump didn't waste any time not only criticizing the decision, but even trashing the federal judge. This is what Donald Trump tweeted, quote, "The opinion of the so-called judge," y'all, he's an actual federal judge, lifetime appointment, "which essentially takes law enforcement away from our country is ridiculous and will be overturned." The Justice Department immediately appealed the ruling to the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco, but that appeal was denied, setting up this going to the U.S. Supreme Court. Vice President Mike Pence defended the ban as necessary protection from terrorism and said the administration will ultimately be victorious. This was yesterday on the Sunday morning news shows.
Permanently suspending immigration from Syria and suspending for a set period of time the remaining 6 countries is consistent with the president's commitment to do just that. We're very confident the president's operating within his authority as president, both under the Constitution and under clear statutory law.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, not too pleased with Donald Trump's slamming of a federal judge, said Congress will allow the court to resolve the legality of this travel ban.
The courts are going to decide whether the executive order the president issued is valid or not, and we all follow court orders. The administration is following the court order, as I understand it, and the courts will ultimately determine the validity of it. Let me just say, I think proper vetting is important to the American people, but there's a fine line here between proper vetting and interfering with the kind of travel or suggesting some kind of religious test, and we need to avoid doing that kind of thing. We all want to try to keep terrorists out of the United States, but we can't shut down travel. We certainly don't want Muslim allies who fought with us in countries overseas to not be able to travel to the United States. We need to be careful about this.
Also, Trump's bromance with Putin of Russia has continued. He did an interview yesterday with Bill O'Reilly, which aired before the Super Bowl, where he would not even criticize Putin. In fact, trashed America in trying to praise Putin. Watch.
Will I get along with him? I have no idea. It's very
He's a
possible
killer,
I
though.
won't.
Putin's a killer.
A lot of killers. We got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent?
Wow. That has led to Republicans across the country criticizing Donald Trump for trashing America, saying we have killers too, and excusing the behavior of Vladimir Putin. Let's go right to it with our panel. Lauren Victoria Burt, political analyst and writer for NBC Black, Eugene Craig, CEO of Eugene Craig Organization, and also Republican out of Maryland, Monique Presley, legal analyst and attorney for the Presley firm. Lauren, to sit there and first of all, let's deal with Russia first, and I'll deal with the travel ban. To watch Donald Trump again excuse Vladimir Putin as a murderous thug and go, oh, we got killers too. At what point do Republicans say we cannot continue to back the toxic behavior of Donald Trump?
Well, they haven't said it yet. I mean, we just had an election where the Russians influenced the election, and they haven't shown any desire to investigate that. And no matter how friendly this president and now his Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, has appeared to the Russian government, Republicans have sort of not really said anything yet, which I think the breaking point is probably going to come when we get a summit or he makes some sort of a deal with Putin that is a lasting part of his legacy or his presidency. That's when I think we're going to see Republicans say something, but for now, they haven't said anything.
Eugene, I mean, seriously, when you ask, when Bill O'Reilly says Putin is a killer, he goes, yeah, we got a bunch of killers too. What the hell?
You know that's the anti-American statement. There's no greater country in the world than America. I mean, there's no other country in the world that affords human rights, civil rights, and civil liberties that America affords. America's, there's no comparison between a country that produces freedom like America and a country that literally still produces communism and authoritarianism like Russia. And the bodies that Putin has lined up, there's literally no comparison of it. But also, I will also point out, I think it was a piss poor job on Bill O'Reilly's part. We've seen him go after folk for much worse, much lesser things than comparing America to Putin's administration.
Yeah.
Oh, no, first of all, Eugene, there's no doubt at all that if President Barack Obama had answered that question the same way Trump did, Bill O'Reilly would have lost his mind and likely turned into Chucky from a horror film if he answered that way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he would have lost his mind. Handy would have lost his mind. I mean, half of the Fox network would have lost their mind. But, that shows the feebleness of the current state of things.
Monique, I'm going to go to you. Here's what Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse said. He said, quote, "Is the U.S. at all like Putin's regime? Not at all." It seems that Sasse is the only Republican who has the guts to take on President Trump.
Well, look, the Republicans have to be right now having an identity crisis in that someone's been elected who is supposed to be not just the head of our country, but also the head of their party. And he is so clearly a man without party and really a man without country. All I see him representing is the United States of Trump right now. And that's not working for the rest of this country, nor is it working for the rest of the world. I do believe, though, that because the Republicans in Congress know a great deal more, they have access to high security level information, and at some point they're going to go the way of Congresswoman Maxine Waters and start saying things out loud that have to be said. But it's going to be after that investigation isn't just something they're talking about starting, but once they actually have to start calling witnesses, have to start looking at the information, then they will feel like they're so-called forced, I'll use the air quotations like our president does, they'll be forced to call a thing and look at President Trump's relationship with Russia and the fact that everyone who works for him, did you see the dance that Pence did this weekend? It's ridiculous. Everyone who's in the Trump administration right now knows something that the rest of us don't know, and I think that we all have to take a good hard look at it.
Monique, as an attorney, let's talk about this whole decision by the judge Friday. To have Trump, again, trashing another federal judge, saying so-called judge. Again, Sasse says, quote, "We don't have so-called judges." I mean, this is the President of the United States who has no problem trashing a federal judge that disagrees with him. This was a George Bush appointee.
Right, but look, we've got a president of the United States who's not really familiar with the working papers called the Constitution of the United States of America and the separation of powers. So he's learning, on the job that when you do something that is illegal in our country, that there is another branch of government, maybe two if the Republicans start showing up, that are responsible for checking the actions of the president. And that's what this federal judge did, and that's what the Ninth Circuit followed and did. And that is what the Supreme Court will do, no matter whether he gets this appointee through or not, because, hey, they're there for life. They don't have anyone to please but themselves.
Eugene.
Yeah, well, I pointed a couple things. First and foremost, Mitch McConnell came out and repudiated his statement as they were leaked Saturday night. Clippings of the interview.
Hold on. Actually, Eugene, McConnell didn't really do that. Yesterday on the Sunday morning news shows, he danced around this whole deal of criticizing Trump, saying, I'm not going to comment on everything that he says. I'm like, dude, you're the Senate Majority Leader. Have the guts to say the President of the United States should not be trashing a federal judge if you disagree. That's why you have lawyers who appeal decisions. You don't personally attack federal judges and you disagree with.
Well,
he won't do it.
Well, I was going to take it a step further and say, furthermore, McConnell's also, put the brakes on this whole election investigation that Trump wants to do. There will be no federal funds there. But, I agree with Monique, and I agree with probably what Lauren's going to say behind me. Our judges are our judges. This is a Bush appointee that I believe was confirmed almost unanimously, if not unanimously, who's standing up for civil liberties and civil rights. And I think it speaks volumes that the Ninth Circuit appellate would not allow for an emergency stay and allow the judge's ruling to carry on.
Kickstart your day at 7 and get the news you need from the perspective you want. NewsOne Now with Roland Martin, every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.